Hello and welcome to our next instalment of our video short series. In light of International Women's Day, I'm going to be talking about women judges. My name is Jenny Watkins and I am a lecturer in law at Newman University, Birmingham. You may well have seen our previous video with regard to International Women's Day, where I spent some time speaking about women and the legal profession. Historically, the legal profession was entirely exclusive of women. However, over the years, female involvement in the profession has slowly begun to increase. There are a number of statistics surrounding the profession. In particular, the Solicitors Regulation Authority statistics report how diverse is the legal profession, most recently updated on the 31st of January 2022. From the graphic, you can see that women make up 61% of solicitors, 35% of partners in law firms, and 52% lawyers generally in law firms. This is an increase on previous years, so the number of women within the profession has gradually increased. However, as you can see from the statistic on the right hand side of 35% partners in law firms, it is quite clear that the gap in seniority between female partners and solicitors still remains significant, although it has narrowed slightly since the previous years, but that ultimately women are still underrepresented at partner level in firms of all sizes. But also within that report, it stated that in particular there is a greater extent of underrepresentation in larger law firms at partner level as opposed to smaller law firms. There's also a significant wealth of data in the official statistics, and these are found via the link at the bottom of the slide. Diversity of the judiciary, legal professions, new appointments and current post holders 2021 statistics. These were published on the 15th of July 2021 and they cover quite a wealth of data regarding diversity in the profession. So not only does this report look at gender diversity within the profession, it also looks at various other characteristics, including ethnicity, other characteristics, and age, for example. It also looks at different types of role within the profession too. So, for example, non-legal and magistrates. But the most interesting statistic to perhaps highlight is looking at the role of women judges. And of course, this is the nature of today's presentation. So, according to the statistics published on the 15th of July 2021, as of the 1st of April 2021, women represented 34% of all court judges, which was 1 percentage point higher than in 2020, and also 9 percentage points higher than in 2014. So that's quite a significant growth since 2014. However, women actually represented 50% of all tribunal judges, which was 3% higher than the previous year and 7% higher than 2014. So it's actually clear that the proportion of women judges is much lower in courts than it is in tribunals, and that the growth in the last year has been much higher in the tribunal sector too. Following looking at the data, it is also important, particularly on International Women's Day, to consider particular individuals who have played a major role for and on behalf of women in the judiciary in particular. So the person I'm going to highlight is Baroness Hale of Richmond, Brenda Hale. Now, Brenda Hale is a well-known figure, and she is an individual who took many of the first steps, if you like, for women to pave a way and trailblaze for legal female legal professionals to follow in her footsteps. So, for example, she had quite a difficult childhood. Unfortunately, her father died when she was in her teens, and she has commented historically around the lessons that she learned around that, and also the experience that she had being from quite a small town with no connections in the profession. So she taught law for a number of years, just under 20 years, and her area of specialism was family and social welfare law. She's an author of many books in those areas, but also she's got her own book around her life, Spider Woman, which has been published relatively recently too. Perhaps the most notable point of her career was when she became the first woman to be appointed to the Law Commission. So her role, therefore, was to help specialise in family law reform, and she was particularly involved in some core reform in family and welfare law, in particular having a strong involvement with the Children Act of 1989. She was then appointed a judge of the Family Division of the High Court and was then promoted to the Court of Appeal. And in 2004, she became a Lord of Appeal in Ordinary in the House of Lords. And at the time, of course, this role, the House of Lords, was the top court for the whole United Kingdom until the Law Lords then became the justices of the established Supreme Court in 2009. So within the Supreme Court, she then became Deputy President in 2013 and became President of the Supreme Court of the United Kingdom from 2017 until she retired in 2020. She still serves as a member of the House of Lords too. So she was, until retirement, the UK's most senior judge. She was most commonly famous relatively recently as being involved with the court's investigation into Boris Johnson's effort to impose the Brexit deal by suspending Parliament and the court's involvement with that role. So she really has been a notable figure as a female member of the judiciary. She has done many of the firsts, which therefore, enable other women to be inspired. I've certainly been inspired by her. She's also quite popular for her use of various brooches, most famously the spider one, hence the name of her book being Spider Woman. But because she took many of those first steps, particularly in the sort of late 90s into early 2000s, she really has paved the way for the future of the legal profession, and has certainly inspired myself and hopefully many others. And so that is a little insight into her and her role. Obviously, if you would like to get involved in the conversation around women judges further, please feel free to get in touch with us. So you can join the conversation on our social media channels. We have at Newman Uni Law on Instagram and also at Newman Uni Law on Twitter. Please do feel free to get in touch. You can also email us on law@newman.ac.uk, and myself or one of the other academics would be more than happy to carry on the conversation. Thank you very much.